My name's Joshua Bacon. My sobriety date is August 3rd, 2017. And on that day, I got sober by accident. I had no intention on stop putting drugs in my body that day. Well, let's rewind a little bit to the beginning of my childhood. I don't blame my childhood on my addiction in any way. I think I was born an alcoholic, and I was dry up until the point where I put a substance into my body. And that's when I found relief, and I found a solution to my problem. As a kid, as a dry drunk, I would steal, I would lie, I'd beat up kids, I'd get beat up by kids due to my actions as trying to treat this emptiness I felt on the inside. I would lie to teachers, I would judge teachers, I would judge my parents, my family, everyone around me. In my head, I was putting them down to make myself feel whole on the inside, because I believed that I was born spiritually dead. And when I found the relief that alcohol gave me, that's where I crossed that threshold of abusing substances. I remember the first drink I took, I don't even know why I took it. I seen a bottle of vodka, and something in my mind told me to take it, because when I seen adults drink it, they were happy. And I could not tell you what happiness was when I was a child. And it's not due to anything that happened in my life, it's just who I was as a person. And so I stole alcohol. I put that alcohol in my body, and I felt relief for the first time in my life. And I didn't even know I was miserable until I felt that relief. My mind shut up, my whole body just relaxed. Like it was a sense of ease and comfort. And I don't know, that created something in my mind that told me that that was the answer to all my problems. And I continued to search for substance to put into my body to get that same feeling. And over time it escalated to weed, to marijuana, to Percocet, to heroin, to IV drug use. And I'm trying to think. There was a point when that stuff was fun, because I was amazed by the relief that I got from putting drugs and alcohol in my body. So it became a way of life that all my friends around me was doing it too. And it was fun. It was really fun to forget about the world around me, to forget who my parents were, to forget the stuff they were teaching me in school that I didn't really agree with. Because I feel like at a young age I had an understanding of what this world was, and I didn't think the stuff that they were teaching us was right. And I just pictured this world as some dumb place, and I could not find happiness within it. And I found it through drugs and alcohol for a very long time. And then before I knew it, I was an adult that knew nothing else besides using drugs and alcohol. And that was my high school career, summed up as drugs and alcohol, running from problems and blaming everyone around me for those problems. When I get to adulthood, I decide I want to try to stop doing this, because I see all my friends around me starting to gain stuff in life, jobs, careers, a house, a car, a family. And I'm still the guy going house to house partying every day of the week. So I get it in my mind that I want to stop doing this and start growing myself. And it's where reality hit me, is I can't stop. because no matter how many times I woke up in the morning and say, today's the day, I would wind up trashed at the end of the night, off of whatever. I did not have a choice of drug. Anything that made me feel different than myself was my choice of drug. I fought with that problem for a very long time on my own. I would take a woman hostage, and I would dress up myself. I would manipulate her. I would charm her is what I would do into feeling pity for me. Take her hostage, tell her about all these problems I have in life, and I would tell her my plan in life. And it sounded great, but the action that I put behind it was absent. There was none. And after a while, she would get fed up, and I'd start blaming her for my pre-existing drug problem. And that's just sick. That's manipulation at its finest. I would do this over and over and over again to the point where they would leave, and then I would self-justify, that's my reason for using, because all these girls did me wrong. And it would turn around, I would go to jail all the time, like constantly going to jail. One time, I would never drive drunk, but there's this one time where my girlfriend left me, and I was in self-pity mode. I was at a party, and this girl needed a ride home, and I said, no, I don't drive drunk. And she got a little flirty with me, so I had no business being behind the wheel of a car. So I took her home, but I was driving like crazy. And it got to the point to where she didn't feel safe anymore, so I just dropped her off. And the rush of driving dangerously was amazing to me at the time. I don't even know why. But I went back to the party, picked up some friends, and I went back out just joyriding, breaking all kinds of laws in that car. And eventually I ended up hitting a brick wall, like literally a brick wall, and knocking that wall over onto another car. And I didn't even realize it at the time. I kind of passed out at the wheel and swerved into a pillar. And then I kept driving, and I come to with everyone yelling at me in the car. Says I need to go back, and I said, I'm not going back. And next thing you know, I pull the car over to do more drugs, and then there's a cop behind me, and he asked me if I've been in a wreck tonight. I said no, and then he starts explaining the front of the car to me. I was like, well, obviously, I guess I've been in a wreck tonight. And he says, have you hurt anybody? And I told him, I don't know. And so he starts running me through where the wreck was, and I look back and like, yeah, I was there, but I don't remember wrecking. And he pulls me out of the car, he gives me the field sobriety test. I tell him, I'm going to fail, I'm drunk, just take me. And he said, this is for court. Trust me, buddy, you need it. And at that point, I was scared to death. Because when I would go to jail, I want out of that situation. I want away from my friends. I'm willing to go to jail. Just let me be alone right now. So he puts me in jail, and I just sleep. Not a care in the world for anyone in that car. If I did hurt someone, I was not thinking about them. I'm thinking about the feelings that I had, my girlfriend leaving me. I embarrassed myself to this new girl. I'm arrested. That's the things I'm thinking about. And I wake up and they tell me I'm charged with wanton endangerment, fleeing the scene without rendering aid to just serious injury or something like that. So in my mind, I think I really hurt somebody. And at that point when I felt fear. for the first time in my life, like real fear. And it's not even that I hurt somebody. Not even that maybe I ruined someone's life or I ruined this family's life or that I've done that. The fear of I'm not going to be able to get high anymore because I'm stuck in jail. That's, looking back, that's the fear I felt. And I did not think of anybody but myself in that moment. And I did my little jail stint, and I kept telling myself alcohol and this and that. It got me here. It's ruined my life now. I've let it ruin my life. And I told my lawyer, I need help, I need this, I need that. And the lawyer turns around and says, well, maybe I can get you out of this entirely. And that's when the thought popped in my head, well, do it, you know? Let's do this. Let's fight it. I'm willing to fight it. And I never ended up hurting anybody, but the questioning of the officer was, I don't know if I hurt anyone or not. So he went ahead and charged me with it because it's pretty reckless. That was my first jail stint. The lawyer ended up beating it because I did not hurt anybody. It was just reckless driving. I did get a DUI out of it, but the point I'm trying to make is in that whole scenario, I didn't think of anyone but myself and alcohol. And when I got out of that situation, the first thing I did was go get drunk. I went and got drunk, and then I would, after that, the fear of ever getting my license back was there. I never got my license back. And I continued for 5 years to drink and drug, house to house, with no license, no motives of getting a job or anything. And I'm blaming the world. I'm blaming the DOC at this point because they took my license. And within the next couple years, it escalates to I'm trying bigger and better things. I'm trying heroin. I'm trying meth. I'm trying everything. It really escalates at this point. All the while going in and out of jail. Same story. I'm only thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about the kids I have. I'm not thinking about my family or anyone involved. I'm thinking about me and the drugs that I want. Fast forward a little bit to a little bit after that is when I really get it in my head that I want to stop. Because I've felt this darkness for a very long time, and I was tired of feeling it. Drugs stopped working at this point, and that darkness would not go away, and I got extremely depressed. And this solution that I was chasing for so long just didn't work anymore. And that's when I get in my head is there's got to be something else. There has to be. Because if not, then I'm ready to kill myself. I'm ready to end it because I'm done feeling this way. And I never once thought drugs made me feel that way. They made me feel better, and I knew this. And after a while, I'm shooting heroin and I'm shooting meth, and it's not enough. And once you get to that point, what more is there? There is not more after that, in my experience, and I've tried everything. I've done enough research to know nothing is going to fill that emptiness. Because after a while, shooting meth and heroin wasn't even enough. But I continued to do it because it was the only means of relief I had. I tried to go get help for the first time ever. I did this program, and in my mind I completed this 6-week program, so I'm cured. The drugs were out of my body for the first time in 10 years, and I felt great. I'm thinking clearly, but I think I'm cured. I think I don't have to do nothing. I can just go about my life, and all these ambitions and goals that I had before, I can now achieve them. And It wasn't true. I had this concept that you get sober and life becomes this beautiful, easygoing place, that this world that I thought existed, it doesn't exist. I was still delusional at this point. So life starts smacking me in the face, bills piling up, this PO's on my ass. Things still ain't going my way. And I tough it out for a long time, and I replaced this addiction for drugs with money. I'm chasing money now because it's the answer to all my problems. I'm never willing to be homeless again, and I chase money because money fights homelessness. After a while, it just doesn't work anymore. So I've got about 90 days clean, and the thought enters my mind, well, you know what would really help right now is some meth. And that thought would not leave my mind until I went and got some meth. And at that time, I just had a baby with my girlfriend, and we were doing good on the outside because I was working. We just had a kid, we got a house. I'm no longer homeless, and I just got over this addiction. That's what appeared to happen. Then out of nowhere, blindsided, I pack my stuff, I go to a hotel, and I am nowhere to be found to anyone for months. I went on the worst binge that I've ever went on, blew all this money that I'm chasing, and it's going straight into my arm. That was my last run, and these thoughts of there is a better way, this ain't working anymore, that's when I really became a slave to this drug. And it's not just meth, not just heroin, it's anything that makes me feel different than myself. I'll abuse Tylenol PMs if you let me. I can't put a name on my drug of choice. It's anything that makes me feel different than how I feel. That's just the darkness for me. That's just how I feel. It's heavy. It's a burden that I carry around. And I don't know. When I relapsed, I knew like this is not going to be good. But I need to shut this head up, or I had two options at that point, was use drugs or blow my brains out. Those were my options. And I was too big of a coward to blow my brains out. So I used drugs, and I isolated for months, and you couldn't find me. No one on this earth could find me, knew if I was alive or dead or nothing. I isolated to the extreme, and I did whatever it took to get high. And I wanted to stop, but I could not. I had a huge resentment towards those drugs, but I loved them at the same time. After that, I got picked up by the cops, you know. And against my will, of course, they took my drugs and took me to jail. And I had the mentality of, I'm not going to give you all nothing. I'm not giving you names. I'm not giving you sources. Take me to jail. And in the back of my mind, I felt this huge sense of relief of it's over. Because I felt powerless in jail. That obsession in my mind, it left when I was in jail because I knew I couldn't get it. I felt calm, comfort in jail. The chase was over, and I knew that. So I was comfortable there. I finally got a good night's sleep. And I got it in my head that I'm going to do good this time. Did this program. Let's do another one, and let's really tackle this thing, because there's got to be more to life than what I've been doing. It wasn't until I sat there for a while, and all these people that usually come back into my life when I go to jail, my mom, my girlfriend, whoever, these friends that I have they stopped answering the phone. No one would answer the phone, and I was alone in jail for the first time. No one would enable me no more. I was alone. They cut me off. I hit the hopeless point of I've burned all these relationships up, and now I really am alone. So at that point, I just let go. I stopped caring. I didn't care I was in jail. I didn't care to eat. I didn't care to make an extra dollar, or that commissary money just wasn't as important. The phone time, I had no one to call. No one was willing to answer. And if they did answer, they was just telling me about myself and how I messed up. So I sat there, and they put me, after a while the lawyer said, look, we can get you some help, for real. And I said, I did that, it's not going to help. She's like, no, if you are willing, if you're honest with yourself, you can get help. But you can't just do something, complete it, and be done. I said, okay. But at that point, I was just saying anything to get out of jail, because I knew if I got out, I can get high. They took me to this program, and they took me in, and for the first time, I felt accepted for who I was. I didn't have to change anything. I didn't have to dress myself up to fit in. They took me as I was. They gave me everything I needed. Pretty much made me feel like it was going to be okay. I started working a program of action. Not by myself, I was shown how to do it. And things started coming true for me. I got honest with myself for the first time ever in my life, that this world is not so bad. Maybe the actions I was taking weren't the smartest. They weren't the best. And that's when things started changing, is when I stopped pointing fingers at this world and started looking inward at myself. And I started realizing that the decisions that I was making was harming myself. And I can't really blame anyone else for that. But then I was still living with all this guilt of all these people that I've hurt, and pretty much just took their peace of mind. That's humanity today. That's who Josh Bacon is. And in my mind, that's not who I am. I suffer from this feeling of I hate myself, and drugs and alcohol make me not feel that way. But they don't see it that way. They see it as I run after this drug, and it doesn't matter. And that's who I was in my head, but my actions say, I need this drug, and I don't care what you say. But after working this program of action for so long, I started getting content with myself and who I was as a person, and the way I looked, and the world that I lived in. I started getting content and happy, and I seen a different perspective of this world. I seen that I could probably be someone in this world, a productive member of society. That's the minimum of what I wanted. I just wanted to be productive. I just wanted to do something other than cause harm. Coming from a guy, my lowest point was, well, besides being brought back by Narcan, my lowest point was in a Walmart bathroom, and I had a needle I was about to use, and I was too afraid to go get, I forgot my water, and I was too afraid to walk to the sink to get water, so I drew up toilet water. And that was my lowest point. And then for a guy like that to start working a program of action and becoming the guy to help people, that's nothing else but God and that program of action. And 12 years I was running around chasing this relief. And it was in me the whole time to find relief, but I have this twisted and warped perception of life that makes it hard to see, but you can't wipe the fog away by yourself. You have to have help. You can't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. I tried 50 million ways to do it by myself. And I only ended up dead and in jail. Back to the whole starting a new perception on life. I put dependence on myself for the longest time until I started putting dependence on a higher power. My life wouldn't change. I started putting dependence on my higher power and things started getting better. These people that didn't want anything to do with me started coming back in my life. I started feeling like I could maybe be someone in this life. I started to change who I was on the inside. These core beliefs, these past experiences, they made me who I was, and I had to remove those and replace them with better ones. I was a product of worldly things, is what I was. And until I took the power out of those worldly things and put them into my higher power, I didn't get relief. I get more relief from knowing that God made me who I was for a reason, how I am, than I do out of drugs and alcohol. And it might not work tomorrow, but all I know is that it works today. And that's all I have. And I've lived just for today. I'm 1 day shy of 18 months without any chemical in my body. And for someone like me, that is nothing else but the work of God. Because I would choose drugs and alcohol over my newborn child. I did it. Now, today, she knows I'm her father. And that's through a program of action, trusting God and helping people that are still consumed by this feeling of not liking the skin that they're in. And they're chasing relief. That's what it is, and that's what it really boils down to. And that's God's purpose for putting me through. Well, I put myself through it, but there was a plan in the grand scheme of, I know how to get out of that hole. And I'm going to help you get out of it. That's my purpose today. But a lot of us get it in our minds that we got to do it by ourselves. And my experience shows me that that's impossible. I don't know. You gotta reach out for help. I had to reach out for help. And like I said, God has a plan for everything. There is a better way of living than chasing relief through a needle, because that relief will go away. You build a tolerance to it, and after a while, it's not good enough. Then you come to this point in the road to where there's got to be something different, or you're going to blow your brains out.